What's up, folks? We're headed out to the range today to do some testing, and what we're going to be looking at here today are some self-healing target setups from Infinity Targets. Now, you guys know that I predominantly shoot steel out on the range, but steel isn't always the greatest choice for every situation. These are a rubber construction target that are designed to actually be defeated by your round instead of steel usually defeats the round. And then in the process of that bullet traversing through the target, it knocks the paint off the front, but then it seals right behind the bullet. So that's what we're gonna be looking at here today and see how effective they are. So the first thing I noticed right out of the box is how manageable these things are, because oftentimes, if you've got a rubber target, it's heavy because it's got a fair amount of material to it. It looks to be maybe 3/4 of an inch thick. Maybe I'll give you the dimensions on screen, but as you can see, I can hold this up no problem. It's relatively portable. It's not like it's going to wind you by moving around like if you were using a whole bunch of steel setups. These are pretty easy to set up. Now, we're going to just go ahead and take this on one of our standard stands here. We're just going to go ahead and put it right like that. Easy setup. So first question, is it good for 22? This is Fiocchi high velocity stuff. Indeed. And then to just heal the target, and that target is now ready for another round. The impacts that you see marked on that target right now are 9mm holes. Now we're gonna shoot some 30 caliber stuff and see if there's any discernible difference on the backside of that target. And for that, we're gonna be using this BRN 180 chambered and 300 blackout. So right here, our 300 blackout, I'm gonna put my hand over it, and then you can see that there's very little signature there. And then here are 9mm holes right there in the center. And I would say that yes, it is dependent on the diameter of the bullet. Now, Infinity does claim that these are good for up to 50 BMG and everything, and they'll still heal. Obviously, from this indication, it tells us that the diameter of the round is going to deplete the life. So they do claim for 5.56 that it's 110 rounds per square inch. So we're gonna go ahead and doodle ourselves a 1-inch box here, approximately. And I am not going to shoot 110 5.56 rounds at this box. But I think that 50 rounds of 22 will do. As you can see here, we have a nice group that formed up. Although it wasn't in our box, it was pretty close to the size that we wanted. And anything that landed outside, I counted it and added back at close range. That's what you saw there at the end. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job. But what I will say is I put that box on the edge on purpose just so that we could test to see what would happen if we got close to those cut lines. And yes, we saw a little bit of degradation of that rubber on those cut lines, as to be expected, because there's going to be less material there to support it. All right, so my question is this, guys. Can it be used for contact distance practice? You can't really use steel or cardboard for that kind of practice. That's super close range stuff, because if you're using steel, you're going to eat all the frag once you shoot it. If you use cardboard, then the thing is going to disintegrate. And to demonstrate that, what we've got here is just an MC2 SC. Full video coming out probably next week on this thing. I've been working hard trying to get this thing done. Here we go. You can't do that too many more times before your target is basically completely destroyed. So let's go over and shoot the Infinity target. So what I see here is really just powder burn on the front and displacement of that paint. What I am happy to see is that we don't see like a slug missing. There's not any extra material missing. In fact, I can't really tell a difference on the back of this target from any of the other rounds that are in this thing. So what you guys might be hearing right now is what is likely going to shape up to be a rather large thunderstorm. So I'm going to try and get this in before my power goes out. But normally I like to finish videos with some kind of critique, some kind of continuous improvement for the manufacturer. And what I would say in this case is this performed as intended and as advertised. I don't have a whole lot to add other than perhaps maybe make those cuts that define the zones a little less deep. I think that they appear to be mechanically cut. So maybe just raise the blade up a little bit because I don't think it's a really big deal, but the only degradation that we saw was right on that line, and that might increase the longevity of the target if we just raise it up ever so slightly. But really, I'm not going to deduct any points for it because you should shoot better, right? Thanks for joining us here today on the VSO Gun Channel. I'm going to get this done before the power goes out. Big lightning.